Hi, I'm Arlen Geyer. Today's topic is tripods and a monopod as well, camera support in general. It's not a particularly exciting piece of equipment, so people tend to put off the acquisition of one, but it is a necessary piece of equipment nevertheless. And you can spend a lot of money or you can spend a little money. So I wanted to spend a few minutes talking about what you get for your money. So we start off with a very basic tripod. The purpose of a tripod is to hold the camera steady. Actually, there are two purposes. It's to hold the camera steady and to make it easy to adjust the camera to the position you want it to be in. So this one is, this is under $20 and opens up like this. It's important when a tripod has this kind of bracing on it, it's important to make that as parallel to the ground as you can. That gives it the most support. This tripod has these locks like this for the legs, and if we open them all the way up to make it go as high as it'll go, there we have that. And let me back up so you can see a little bit more of it. It's now sitting on the ground, and the purpose is to hold the camera steady. And so if there's any kind of wind, or if you're using a very slow shutter speed, you want the camera to be very stable. And this one you can actually raise a little bit higher. You can unscrew this and lift this up. So now I've got it tightened up, but notice that with very little effort, I can wiggle this quite a bit. And that would create quite a bit of blur in your subject if you're using a fairly slow shutter speed. So you really wouldn't want to do that. So when you're looking for a tripod, one of the things to look for, extend the thing all the way up and see if it has any wiggle like that. So this one you definitely would not want to use all the way up like that. But once you get it down into a lower position, it gets a little bit more steady. I'm on a porch here with a wooden deck, and so you can see that this is not moving much at all, so that's not bad. Now, you also want it to be fairly stable this way. Now, this has this little lock right here, and when I crank this down really hard, this still moves very easily, which is not a very good thing. I'm afraid I'll break it if I try to crank it down any tighter than that. So that's a point against this particular tripod. And the up and down motion, you loosen that and you can move it up and down. And the third motion that you can do on this is you can loosen that and tilt the tripod like this. That's quite stiff, not very friendly. But as I said, this is an under $20 tripod. It has a quick release. I don't have the shoe that fits on this right now, but that would screw onto your camera. I'll show you one for a different tripod in a moment. And the nice thing about that is that you can quickly take the camera off the tripod to hand hold it. One of the drawbacks to this style with the handle out here is that if you're trying to get in close to the camera, for example, to look through the viewfinder, this is going to be in the way. And so that is something to consider when you're looking at what type of a tripod head you want to use. So this is the head, and these are the legs. And this one, the head is built onto the legs. They don't come apart. So you'll notice that the leg sections get thinner as they go down, of course. And so these lowest ones are somewhat flimsy. So if you don't need to extend the tripod all the way up, it'll be more rigid if you keep the smaller legs collapsed and just use the thicker ones. So the more of the sturdiest part of the tripod you can use, the more stable it'll be. So I would not put this camera on that tripod. This is a very heavy camera, and it would probably fall over. But one of the things that many cameras have is a 2-second delay. And on this particular camera, I would set that up here, push a button up there, and then dial in here till I find the place where it says it's got a little clock face type thing, and then a 2, and that means that it's going to delay for 2 seconds before it takes a picture. It will demonstrate here. do it again. Press the button, take the picture. So the nice thing about that is that you can have your camera on your tripod, just so you're on the ground, and you press the button, then you step back and hold your breath and let the camera, you have 2 seconds for the tripod to settle down and for the picture to get taken. So we'll move that one out of the way. The next one I've got, actually let me do, this one is a step higher in the scale than that one. It is much stiffer. It's got 3 leg sections, so it's a little bit more flexible. Notice that the small leg sections, again, are very thin, and that is not a good thing, but on the other hand, it does make it light, and it also made it less expensive. This tripod, I believe, costs around $100. I've had it for a while, so I don't really remember, but it's much more stable than the other one was. You can raise this up like this. Let's see what happens if we move this all the way up. So it's a lot more stable than the other one is. I've got a little bit of vibration in there, a little bit of motion, but not a whole lot. And the 2-second delay would probably take care of that. It's got a very small head on it, and you can take this head off. So presumably, oh, it's unscrewing from here. So never mind, that's not going to help. So we're going to leave that one on. Actually, what you could do is you could unscrew that, and then you could take this out of here and flip that around and put it in upside down, so you can put the head, you can have the whole thing upside down with your camera hanging upside down on here and shoot something very close to the ground if you wanted. So this one's more stable, but I could possibly put this camera on here. I have a quick release thing on here, which I'm not going to take off because I'll be using it on the next tripod. So, but I could put it on here, but I really wouldn't want to. It's really too small a tripod. It's too flimsy for me to trust with that camera. The camera that I'm actually recording this video with, which is a slightly smaller camera than that one, I have used on this tripod successfully. So that's this one. This one also has an advantage that you can adjust the position of the legs. There's this little lock in here. If I pull that out, I right now have these legs extended as far as they go, except this one I can now extend way out to here. So let me shrink this down so you can see this more clearly. We'll go with one. One of the things I like about these pull-push locks is I've got these 2 pulled out, and I can just push those 2, and then with one push of my thumb I can lock those 2 together. So another common type of lock is a twist lock, and I had a tripod with that some years ago, and the problem I experienced was that if the top one was not totally tight, then when I tried to adjust the one below it, this leg section would twist. And that I found incredibly annoying, because then I had to go back up and tighten this one further in order to adjust this one. I believe that most tripods that have that twist lock system have solved that problem by making it so the legs don't twist, but nevertheless I found that annoying, so I switched over to this system, and I've liked it ever since. So now we've got this one pulled out, and it actually has 2 additional positions. There's one. I can pull this leg out to the intermediate position, and this one, like so. It's not quite there. There we go. Okay, so now all 3 of those are in an intermediate position, which would make the tripod get quite low to the ground. And as I said, you can also flip this thing around. And there's another position I can do as well, way out like this. Now the advantage of that is I'm going to move these back to their normal position, and let's say I'm in a situation where I'm out on boulders and I can put these 2 legs on the ground, but I want this leg to come out and rest against something over here. I can do that with this tripod because I can have this leg extend out to the side like this. So adds a little bit of extra flexibility there. So now I'm just going to flip those 2 up and push in like that. So that's about a $100 tripod or so, and you could get away with using this with Truth is, you could get away with using any of these tripods with any, you know, fairly small single lens reflex camera, but if you use something like this, you need to really be careful and make sure you don't put it in a precarious situation where the camera could fall off of it, and make sure you use the 2-second delay or use a self timer of some sort so that it doesn't, so you don't get any shake and don't extend it all the way up. Now, the next one I have is this, which has basically the same features as this one, but it's much beefier. And with this, I'm going to extend this out. You can see how quick it is to extend these legs. And this one, when I bought it with, if I can, there we go. The legs came separately from the head. So you buy the legs and you decide what head you want with it. So I initially got it with this head. And because it was less expensive, and I figured it would do the job. So we put this camera on here, and so as I said, this has this quick release plate on it, and I can just click that in there like that, and this has a really nice feature. Let me get a little closer so you can see this better. This little twist lock here, with that in that position, I can't release the camera. I can loosen it slightly, but I can't let it go. And when I pull that little tab out, then I can take the camera off. So put it on, just drop it in like that, and I flip that to lock it in place, and that way I'm sure not to have the camera accidentally fall off of the tripod. So with this head, it's a ball head as opposed to the twist kind of thing that this was. And the ball head will do this kind of thing. And then you just get in the position you want and you tighten it up to lock it. And you can also rotate it around like that. You get in the position you want and you lock it into place. Now, if you want to take a vertical shot, then you do like this. So I was using this tripod head on this with this camera. I wanted to do a sequence of shots of exactly the same scene, but I wanted to bracket them. I wanted to bracket the aperture to get different. It was moving water, and I wanted to experiment with getting different amounts of blur in the moving water. But I wanted exactly the same framing in each one. So I had it all locked down like this, and I did an exposure. Then I adjusted the exposure settings to get the next shot, and I did that one, and I did that a few times. When I got back to the computer, I discovered that the camera had gradually dropped during the course of the shoot, and I was very upset by that because that basically meant my day was wasted. And so I decided that this particular tripod head was not adequate for this camera. Now, the camera that I'm recording the video in, which is a lighter camera than this, would work okay with this head, but I also have this camera. So I bought another head for it. I got this one, which I will put on in just a moment, but before I do that, I want to show you a different one. I used to use even a bigger camera than that, and I had a much beefier tripod, which is actually the one that is supporting the video camera. And I wanted a head that would, I figured when I'm using a tripod, I want to be very deliberate about exactly what my settings are, what my camera angle is. And so this tripod head does that by doing very precise motions with these adjustments. So I can also twist it and do a more rapid adjustment, but I can do this very fine tuning adjustment like this. And so it's really great for getting exactly the angle and the position that you're looking for. I found out after using it for quite a while that it was really rather tedious to use, and I'd really prefer to be able to get the adjustment more quickly. So, and also it's an extremely heavy tripod head. So now we have this one. This is a great head. I love it. And so put that on like that, and the camera's locked in place. The head has a level on it right here, a little bubble level, and incidentally this tripod has a bubble level right here as well, but that's kind of hard to see sometimes. But the head also has a bubble level, so I can, when I'm moving the camera around like this, I can just, if I want it to be level right now, that's level because the bubble says so. So for doing video, you want the tripod itself to be level in addition to the head. But for doing still shots, just leveling the head is usually sufficient. So that's a great feature. It also has several other really nice features. You can adjust the tension in the head so that if you don't want it to be able to move completely freely, you can give it a little bit of resistance with that adjustment, which is nice if you have a heavy camera. And you can adjust this, and I can drop this down for the vertical shot, and I can drop it down a little lower than 90 degrees, or I can lock this to where it will only go down to 90 degrees. But if I flip this out like that, I can make it actually go further down than that in case either my tripod's not level or for some other reason I want to go further down. So this tripod also has another feature. See if I can manage to do it here. There's a little lock in there, and easier to do without the camera on. So if I lift this up, there's a little button. If I push that button, I can bring this up further, and I can move that down, move that into a horizontal position like that, if I want to shoot some other situation. I don't know, whatever. Okay, so this one, if I just extend this one all the way up, it's quite stable. It's not really moving at all, and this will support a pretty heavy camera. Now this whole setup right here is, I don't know, I think maybe $300 or so, so you can go higher end than this. This has aluminum legs. You can get the same thing with carbon fiber legs, which is lighter, so it's easier to carry, but just as strong. This tripod also has a little hook right here that you can hang a weight from to make it even more stable. It also has a clip here that you can clip a strap onto. These two legs are padded so that it can rest against your back or something. But things to think about. Now, most students are not going to run out and buy a $300 or $400 tripod, but it's good to know. You can see how quickly, and if I do it, if I push both those at once, I can do this very quickly. It's great to be able to adjust the tripod quickly. It's great to be able to adjust the tripod head quickly. But once you get it adjusted, you definitely want it to stay in place. I have just one more thing to show you. I'll be right back. Okay, there's the tripod that is holding the video camera. And that one is a much beefier tripod. It has a video head on it. The video head does not tilt side to side, but it will tilt up and down, and it'll twist side to side. But it has a resistance system in it so that it will move smoothly when you're panning back and forth with your video. So It's a much bigger tripod, much heavier, much more expensive, but that's the high end of what I've got. So there you go. That's tripods. One more thing. I have a monopod. A monopod is like a tripod, but it has just one leg. I have the quick release on this, so I can lock that on there. And this particular monopod, I love this one. I pretty much only use it when I'm using my really long lens because it's a heavy lens. But there's this little foot down here, and if I just step on that, then just pull, this will come out. So I've got my foot on that, and I can just raise this up. And to release it, to let it go down again, I put push this in with my pinky, and then squeeze this, and I can drop it. So I can raise it with my foot on the little tab down there. I can lower it just by doing that, and very fast. And so with my other lens on here, I can twist the lens because the tripod mount is on the lens itself, so I can twist it for a horizontal shot or a vertical shot. But I have found it extremely useful to be able to quickly adjust the height of the monopod, and this particular system allows me to do that really easily, rather than having to twist, to do one of those twist locks or the thumb lock. This is just a whole lot faster. So that's my camera support system, and as I said, if you go for an inexpensive one, just be gentle with it and make sure that it is stable when you take your pictures. Thank you.